Put on your thinking cowls and try to remember the distance from the Batcave to Gotham City.
To the Batmobile.
Just in time.
All 120 episodes.
What? Is it possible? Not only possible, but true.
Fully remastered in HD.
Holy skyrocket!
Exploding with all new special features.
A special extra bonus.
Batman, the complete TV series. On Blu-ray, DVD, and digital HD. November 2014.
You've done it again, Batman.
The distance from the Batcave to Gotham City? Just look at the sign. 14 miles.
Right again, old chum. Stay tuned.
We have already seen chaos on the stock exchange, extortion. This gentle minstrel is a threat. You bet. How to trace him? Perhaps by this ingenious bird. Affirmative. How to gain entry. But it's a trap. Batman prepares for another trap. Not a trap door. And a rotating spit. Rare. Medium. Well done. While the musical monster supplies his accompaniment. Can the dynamic duo survive this? Are they and their goose to be permanently cooked? Hang on and find out in just one sizzling minute.
Welcome back, citizens, to an all-new episode of the Batcave podcast. It's your old bat chum, John S. Drew here, and we've got a new villain for this episode of the podcast. We're going to be taking a look today at the Minstrel, but I don't have a new villain as far as the guest star here. I've got actually an old chum coming back to talk to us once again about this episode. Please welcome back to the podcast, writer and editor of the essay collection Gotham City 14 Miles, Mr. Jim Beard. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Hey, good. Hey, yeah, it's an old villain returning here. so thrilled to be back in the Batcave and talking some Batman.
Talking some Batman. And talking, hopefully, this time around, because last time we talked, you weren't too thrilled with Victor Buono as King Tut. Hopefully, this time around with the Minstrel, we've got a winner. We're
all fine and dandy on that score. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to talking about this one and in positive ways.
Yes, absolutely. I think so too. We'll get into it because he's not one of the more loved villains or understood villains as far as the new ones that the production team rolled out as the series progressed. Now, these episodes are called The Minstrel's Shakedown and Barbecue Batman. I think this is the first time we're diverting from the rhyming scheme of
the
titles.
Rhyming scheme, yeah. I think this is the first one where there's a question mark on a title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, these episodes aired on September 21 and 22nd, 1966. So we're still early on in the second season here. You know, we both said it. We do kind of like this episode, even though it's not well liked by the Bat fans. And there's a number of things, and we're going to point it out as we go through the episode here. I mean, we start right off the bat where we're dealing with the Gotham City Stock Exchange, and there's a wild run where fortunes are being gained and won, and the news is carried over the television, and we cut right to Commissioner Gordon's office as he's watching it. I always love that television screen in his wall.
Good afternoon, my friends.
Where did he come from?
Who is that?
A helpful minstrel I, when I see folks in trouble.
Then I come on the double, with counsel both soothing and wise. With counsel both soothing and wise.
Oh, isn't he attractive? So gentlemanly.
For fair remuneration, I'll wipe the tears from your eyes. I'll wipe the tears from your eyes.
Is he talking to us?
Apparently.
This message is for members of the Gotham City Stock Exchange. Gentlemen, salvation is available. The Minstrel's Friendly Stockbrokers Protective Association will guarantee you immunity from a repetition of today's calamity.
How thoughtful.
I'm sure you'll agree the fee is reasonable for the protection provided. $1,000 per week per stock exchange member.
That's blackmail.
Make your checks payable to account number 007 and airmail them each week to the Broccoli Bank in Geneva, Switzerland. I'll expect notice of your agreement to this in tomorrow's Gotham City Times. Let me emphasize that 100% participation is essential.
Yeah, wouldn't you love to have one of those like that, you know? Well, you know, that's what's fun about it is Gordon seems to be at a moment of maybe relaxing. Like this is something, this is a way to just kind of, kick back after a busy, morning or afternoon in the office. He seems like it's something that he looks forward to, and I love the way he just kind of plops down in a chair, turns the TV on and plops down, and he's ready to watch this exciting, just thrilling television about the stock exchange.
I love also the 007 Broccoli Bank reference.
yeah, isn't that fun? It just goes to show how pervasive Bond, was at this time. That the old saying about the '60s was the 3 Bs. Bond, Batman, and
Beatles.
Yes.
I forgot for a second. So
it's like where's the Beatles reference? They get the Bond reference in there, and they needed a Beatles reference in there too. Yeah, fun stuff.
And this is now going to be the second time that Batman is facing a villain he's unfamiliar with. I mean, we had Archer before, and he was new to us, but he wasn't new to Batman.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I one of the first reasons why I like the Minstrel is that he is completely new. There's no history there at all. He comes on the screen and he's a surprise to everybody. So that raises the bar, a little bit right off the bat, if you'll pardon the pun, of this episode.
And we see that Dick and Bruce are also watching these proceedings, so it saves us some time in the storyline, because we've been talking about how they start to take shortcuts. This is a more clever way to get the shortcut in, so that you don't have to have, we're going to go look at sparrows or something like that. They're able to rush off, because Aunt Harriet, anyway, is clearly smitten with the Minstrel.
Yeah. Wait! I love it that Aunt Harriet is actually watching this. I mean, this is gripping television in Gotham City, I guess.
I guess.
That they broadcast this thing with stocks or whatever, and I got to tell you, after watching it for us to talk about today again, it's kind of I don't want to go so far as to say a boring setup, but it's kind of, a real world kind of stage setup for a Batman episode.
Yeah. I mean, it all ties in with the whole, because we've been talking about this in these early episodes. They're cutting to the chase, and they were doing it also at the end of the first season. They're not setting up as much or giving as much time to Dick and Bruce as Dick and Bruce. It's like we want to cut to Batman. We want to get to, the meat of it. So we're not giving Adam West and Burt Ward a chance to be out of the costume as much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's barely any Bruce Wayne at all in this episode. In fact, I think it's pretty much just here at the beginning. But what I mean is, the whole thing about blackmailing, these businessmen, over stocks and bonds and things like that, just, again, I think that there's a little bit of risk there that wasn't an overly fantastical thing for a Batman episode. I mean, it could have been kind of boring, for that matter.
Oh, I see what you're getting at there. Okay, I totally. So in a way, you're thinking it's ambitious, but at the same time, it could have just as easily have been kind of boring because of the nature of the stock.
You know, I mean, it's not a spectacular theft or a theme theft, you know, by a theme villain or something like that. Like, you know, the Minstrel didn't appear with a giant cello sitting in the middle of an intersection in Gotham City, you know, something like that to confound and confuse everybody. You know, it's a thing where, you know, he's coming on, you know, TV, and which is kind of flashy in a way, but you know, it starts off with guys in suits in a business type of setting, you know, with this whole thing about the stock.
Funny you say that though, because we're just saying before how Bruce Wayne doesn't have a lot to do in this episode. You would think if we're dealing with a plot with the stock market, Bruce might play a bigger role.
Yeah, completely agree with that. You know, it's almost a surprise to me that they didn't have him, you know, with all the other guys in the stock office or whatever it's supposed to be, you know, there. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Off they rush, the two of them. They, you know, bat poles, and at police headquarters, Batman starts to make the connections. He starts to work out who this Minstrel is as far as what kind of a person he is. Batman is able to deduce that this is someone who's determined that there is something between electricity and sound waves, and that he's got this ability to manipulate the signals that are being sent in as far as quotes to the exchange and alter them, thus causing some people to have, like, you know, big wins and others to have big losses.
Which I think is really, you know, a fun background for the Minstrel, and I love the whole thing about sort of the dichotomy that Gordon or Harris, whoever sees, you know, between, like, well, he's like this musician guy, but he's an electronic genius, and that doesn't seem to match up, and Batman and Robin have to set them straight on that account.
Right. So they head over to the stock exchange, and I thought this was a little bit overplayed, was as they're examining this huge, you know, relay system in a closet in the hallway of the stock exchange. They're kind of like bobbing up and down, Batman and Robin, looking for, you know, any clue to give them, you know, what, you know, as far as like where the transmitter might be and such.
Yeah.
But then there's a nice bit there where afterwards, you know, Robin is continuing to talk and Batman cuts him off because he does realize that, you know, if there's a transmitter, there could also be a bug in this thing.
Yeah, exactly. I want to interject something right here at this moment because it really struck me again as I rewatched this episode. The guy that rushes out when Batman starts looking at the equipment, not on the opposite side of the wall in the closet, but at the first point, and the guy rushes in and he's like, you know, can I help you? And, you know, I love it because Cortland steps in, and my name is Cortland, you know, to surprise that guy. But that guy acts pretty nervous, and to me, if you're watching that for the first time, you would almost guess that guy is in on it, that he seems nervous enough like he's an accomplice of the Minstrel.
Right.
But they don't go anywhere with it at all. So to my mind, you know, I was thinking that was the Minstrel's in at that place, that he, you know, had a connection with that guy, and that was the guy that lit the Minstrel in to you know, fool around with that machinery. To me, it was just odd the way the guy acts, that there was some setup there, but nothing that was followed through on.
You know, you very well could be right about that. And it's something I want to get at when we wrap this whole episode up when it comes to this episode. To me, I feel that I liked the Minstrel. I wasn't too keen on the story, and I think that's where people fail to miss the charm of the Minstrel as a villain.
Okay. You know what? I take your meaning there, and yeah, I see where you're going there, you know, because again, it struck me as to how interesting the Minstrel is. But yeah, again, the plot's not terribly spectacular one. It gets a little bit bigger
as we move along.
In the second half, but yeah, it's fairly quiet setup, you know. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm. We get to now meet the Minstrel live. We get a scene with him, and there's another aspect, and I wonder if it was something they had written in, and then time-wise, just like the other one with the nervous man, that just didn't get played up as much. Octavia, sort of shows an interest. That's his mole. She shows an interest in Batman. She thinks he's got a great voice and all, and he gets upset, but more so than a lot of other villains usually do. It's almost like he's just jealous of the fact that she's showing an interest. And I have to wonder if also some of his characterization was supposed to be he knows he's hot. Because, with the way Aunt Harriet at the beginning was swooning for him. I wonder if that was something they were going to play up more, that he almost like Joan Collins as the Siren in the third season, that he could actually seduce women with his music and his voice.
That's a really interesting point. He's obviously terribly egotistical,
yes,
as almost all Bat villains are. Huge egos. He knows that he's a genius because he tells us more than once. He's really champing at the bit to lock horns with Batman. But he right off the bat, again, no pun intended, he really feels like he's Batman's intellectual superior. But Octavia, starts to stick this knife between his ribs a little bit, with the, Batman, wow, and so, yeah, I think it is a kind of a dual thing there, He is a little jealous. And it goes towards this weird relationship thing between the villains and their mouths. You kind of wonder, like, how far does it go with some of the. This is also very interesting that you brought it up, because I was really looking into Van Johnson's background and kind of reading up on him, and I stumbled across something that I did not know, is that Van Johnson was gay.
Really?
So yeah, it's very, very, interesting as far as what you are bringing up, as far as the relationship between him and Octavia.
Wow, I did not know that. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, he had an arranged studio marriage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty typical of situations like that, because they had to, if you had a good-looking guy and he happened to be gay, but, you want to sell box office tickets, I guess you had to do that in the 50s and 60s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just want to interject right here is Van Johnson's charisma, to me, really comes through. Again, he was 50 years old at this point. He was born in 1916, so he's 50 years old at this point, but a good-looking guy.
Yes.
And, in his career really was a singer, a dancer, beyond being just an actor. So he's good for this part. It's not one of those ones where they filled the part, with someone completely unlikely. He really fills that role of this minstrel, and I love it because they use the wandering minstrel theme.
Yes.
So much through this whole thing, and that gives you the picture of almost like a lowly figure, a wanderer or whatever, but he's absolutely not that. Van Johnson's one of these guys that sort of exudes, affluence.
Yeah.
So it's in this sort of mock humility, I'm just a wandering minstrel sort of thing is really kind of funny when his ego is just immense.
In that scene there, Batman and Robin are also talking about, how are we going to do this? Because again, and they bring it up several times that this is someone new. This is someone Batman really has to think about. I mean, they kind of drive it home, maybe even a little too much. But in this particular scene, they mention some of the villains they've managed to defeat in the past. And Robin mentions Clock King. And I'm like, wait a minute, we haven't had Clock King yet. We haven't. But then again, I mean, Clock King will have been established in the Batman mythos as far as this incarnation is concerned when the episode actually runs. They're running into him again, even though we've never seen him. But it's an interesting. I always liked that. In the first season, they used to drop hints about Catwoman before she appeared.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me wonder if the Clock King episode had been filmed already.
It could be.
At this. Oh, you know what? It was. I'm looking at the production numbers. Clock King production number is 9711. Minstrel is 9713.
Oh, okay.
So they had filmed it already, but they're showing them out of order as they did a lot back in those days. Very interesting. But it would have been interesting at that time to have been watching this new And then Batman suddenly says that. I can imagine, someone watching it saying, "Who's that?"
In the next scene, I love they're back in the Batcave, and we've got Alfred fretting over the two.
Dinner time, sir.
Go. A peanut butter and watercress sandwich and a glass of milk would have been sufficient, Alfred.
I know, sir, but I can't help worrying about the two of you occasionally. The long hours, the meals you often miss. I hate to see this dual life you're both leading taking its toll.
Robin and I still have a few good years left. However, I do appreciate your concern. We'll dine in a moment, Alfred. First, I'd like to get the kinks out of this bug.
Kinks out of the bug, sir?
It's a bugging device with which we hope to trap our latest adversary, Alfred.
Oh. Would that be the Minstrel, sir?
Yes, it is indeed, Alfred. You've heard of him, then?
All Gotham City's heard of him, sir. He seems to have most of the women swooning over his so-called gentlemanly charm, and most of the men in a state of panic, including, if I may be allowed the personal reference, myself.
You, Alfred?
In panic?
Well, I have managed to save a tidy little sum on the side and made what I hope are some wise investments on the stock market.
You too, Alfred? Wiped out by the Minstrel?
No, not exactly wiped out, Master Robin. But I did manage to go down to the stock exchange this morning while you two were in town. And it certainly is chaos.
I love that.
One of the other things that I want to call out is when Batman tells Gordon that this may be one of the greatest threats that Gotham City has ever faced.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's not a lot to go on, and he's issuing this big proclamation, that this could be, he names all those villains and everything, but this could be the greatest threat we've ever faced. Yeah. And then just a few beats later, he says something like, "I don't think we'll have much trouble handling this guy."
Well, maybe he's just trying to make himself look good.
What are you doing trying to manipulate, your police force?
I mean, maybe he's just trying to make himself look good.
Absolutely, and a little bit later, that's John. That's so funny that you say that, because a little bit later, Batman does something that's fairly underhanded and sort of atypical, not really him. That really kind of makes him look bad. And here he is potentially trying to build himself up. I love it because Batman in this show has a good-sized ego. And I love it when little bits of it, show through where, his ego is hurt at sometimes, here or there. And I think that you're kind of highlighting one of these times here where his ego's coming through.
Yeah. And though in that scene in the Batcave, did you notice that Batman never pressed the button to activate the bat phone when calling Gordon? He just picked up the phone and started talking. He picks it up, waits a second, and goes, "Hello, Commissioner." And I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't push a button. Who are you fooling now?
Maybe on his end, maybe it's just the act of picking it up, picking up the receiver that it activates it. It's the new model bat phone. He hasn't gotten one to Commissioner Gordon yet. He wants Commissioner Gordon to keep pushing that button.
Pushing that button.
is a really, really nice scene, and I really love it. And I actually made a note about it to talk about this episode because to me it's one of the highlights. To me, it seems like they're really trying to build up the characters.
Yes.
To give these characters, just a little bit more personality, a little more background. What I like is that you can almost build a whole background for Alfred if you watch the entire show. They do stick little things in here about his past, and that was a really fun illumination of Alfred's personal life. Obviously, his career, everything is waiting on, Bruce and Dick and Batman and Robin, of course. But it's like you kind of wonder sometimes, does he have any sort of life outside of that? So that was a really nice little, glimmer into that. And I love the Batman and Robin surprise when Alfred starts talking about this. Like, Alfred, you? Geez, what did you think? It's like you think that he's not going to think about his retirement.
Well, it's funny because in a way their reaction is kind of almost like our reaction because, like you say, it rounds him out. He could easily just be the faithful butler. He could just be doing butler duties and every once in a while don the bat suit because Bruce Wayne needs to make an appearance or something. But it's like the writers actually did think about little things like that, like, the stock market. Yeah. He'd mention family members once in a while. We even got to see his lookalike, I think it was his cousin, in a Joker episode. So it does give him more depth. I mean, he got a better deal with that than Aunt Harriet. Now, Aunt Harriet was very one-dimensional.
Yeah, very much so, And there's a lot of opportunity there, to talk about literally that she's Dick's actual family, and they don't go into that at all.
No.
I think with the case with Alan Napier is that somebody probably realized that the incredible resource that they had right there in the middle of the show. Alan Napier, in his career was, a huge career before this show. Wonderful actor. And, it's like, did they think like maybe he was being sort of wasted, just in this sort of subservient, off to one side role? So when we get these little Alfred bits, I think they're fun. But coming up, well, I know we're getting to it, there's a little Alfred bit that I actually hate.
I think we're thinking of the same thing, and we'll get to it. We'll definitely will. We cut to Batman and Robin deciding to head back to the stock exchange because they figure Minstrel's going to come back and get his equipment. And as they're wandering about the stock exchange, they start hearing...
A Wandering Minstrel. That's the same tune he sang on TV.
Right, Robin.
Do you think it could be some kind of signal?
Yes, it could, old chum. Let's take a look. Easy now.
Do you always sneak up on people like that?
No.
That's okay. You're here kind of early, aren't you?
So, you were expecting us.
Are you kidding? They told me to expect a new replacement. I just didn't know there'd be two of you. Anyhow, you got here. Glad you wore your old clothes. This job is a mess.
It's our window scene, but not in the window, as we get Phyllis Diller playing the cleaning lady.
Yeah, isn't this crazy? You almost wish you could hear the writers as they wrote this stuff, or whoever, the whole setup, of like, exactly what they were thinking. Okay, so we wanted Phyllis Diller, and they milk it for all it's worth, because you only see her from behind, for quite a long while, and she turns around. Now, I hate to say this, but I'm not sure exactly of what Phyllis Diller's status was in 1966. I know that she was established, but it's like I'm wondering if viewers, like, shrieked in joy when she turned around and it's Phyllis Diller, or was there a little bit of who is that, or is that supposed to be somebody? I mean, but the setup on it is that you're supposed to recognize her, I assume, right off the bat, and get a big laugh out of, oh my gosh, it's Phyllis Diller.
Right. I think by then she was starting to come into her own and being recognized and such. I think it was like at this point, and then into the 70s is where she started really like peaking in as far as recognition and popularity. So I think it was well played. And what I love is that even though you've got Phyllis Diller, the person who got the most laughs out of me was Adam West, because she turns around and she does the whole, and she goes, do you always go around startling people like that? And Adam West just cuts it off with, no. I'm just dying from that.
Deadpan no. And it's not the only moment in this where he underplays it with people. But yeah, I love that. No. There's no big explanation or anything like that at all. It's just no. Yeah, funny stuff. And we get one of the typical someone doesn't recognize Batman and Robin.
Yes.
Now, earlier, we get the guy who rushes out at the stock exchange and recognizes them immediately. You almost expect one of those, can I help you, who are you sort of thing, and maybe you get somebody saying, well, don't you recognize Batman and Robin? But that guy recognizes them immediately, but you get Phyllis Diller, who supposedly does not recognize Batman and Robin. Here's my big question, John. Are we supposed to assume that she is in on the whole thing? That she is on the Minstrel's payroll?
It's a good question.
It's not really clear.
It's a good question.
It's not really clear. She rushes off quickly, and she's, like you said, she's whistling the Wandering Minstrel. That's either one heck of a coincidence, or Batman and Robin are correct that that's a signal to the minstrel. But I think the way she kind of looks off to the side and then rushes off, that she was actually in with the minstrel.
Another take you could have, and we'll get to this as we go along to the end of this episode, I think this story went through a number of rewrites. I've got this feeling that it did, that she may have been in on this with the minstrel, or she may have been in part of her dialogue, which may have been removed, may have been something to the effect, because I can't imagine why Batman doesn't say, why were you whistling that song and such, and she would have just said, well, the dreamy minstrel, didn't you see him on television earlier today or something like that. And I get the feeling they rewrote the whole thing, to make it focus more on Phyllis Diller than on the story.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get a glimpse of the script for this episode and see if there was more stuff there. Right. But, it's an interesting moment. I'm not the biggest Phyllis Diller fan in the world, but, like you said, it's almost an extended window cameo that's not in a window.
And she walks off, and that gives the minstrel the opportunity to step out of the coding. I call it the coding circuit closet. I mean, it's in the middle of a hallway. It's not in a room in a locked. It's a closet, And he pulls out this device which sends out sparks and smoke, blinding the two. And what's interesting is, and this is part of what I like about the minstrel's character, he doesn't do anything to them. He has a perfect opportunity to take them out. And he doesn't, and we'll find out later on, he doesn't want to kill. That's one thing he's very much, it bothers him that eventually he'll have to, because it's the only way he'll get the job done. But he doesn't have the kind of glee that a lot of the other villains have at offing Batman. He's enjoying sparring with him mentally, but he doesn't want to hurt him.
I don't know how spectacular that device was at the time to children or adults at that time watching the show who weren't jaded as we are by special effects. Even now, watching it's kind of disappointing because, I think they, even with their limited budget, it could have been more spectacular, but they have these smoke bombs that go off. It's like minstrels rotating this thing in the air, and okay, that's kind of interesting. It spurts out this little, flame thing or whatever, but they have these smoke bombs further down the hall near Batman and Robin that are so ill-placed. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like off to one side, and it's only sort of one or maybe two. And it's got the sound, like the fireworks sound effects and things like that, but you think that they would have had some better flashing lights, like bigger flashing lights, to give the idea that Batman and Robin are being blinded, because really there's not much going on for them to react the way that they do. But again, it's like spend the $10 for another smoke bomb or flash some bigger lights, so it looks like they're really being blinded. It's not bad, and it's interesting, that they had them use this device, but I think it could have been a little bit better than it was.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, true. And it's funny, too, because he, manages to blind them and somewhat incapacitate them, and yet he doesn't finish the job that he came to do, which was to get that circuit. So he just gets away, and as soon as Batman and Robin are recovered, Batman is able to find the circuit that corrupted the stock figures. And it's a nice little scene because we cut back and forth to Batman and Minstrel.
What is it?
A heterodyne counter oscillator would be my guess, and a marvel of miniaturization.
To confuse the frequency so that each number has to come out anything but right.
Commissioner, all Gotham City is in danger while this musical criminal is at large. He exhibits a degree of electronic sophistication far beyond anyone in the world today.
He exhibits a degree of electronic sophistication far beyond that of anyone else in this world today. Except me, of course. If, as I suspect, he spotted the counter oscillators by now, he knows the place was bugged.
Smarter than you thought he was,
You're absolutely right, my dear. He must be eliminated after all. We can count on him to come to us. All we have to do is be certain we're ready.
How do you mean you can count on him?
He's waiting for me to go on the air again, Base, so we can use our signal to lead him to us. So we'll work from the studio, not here. See that it's ready, Treble.
But how can he use our signal? Unless he's a bird. The beam is so narrow he can't even pick it up on the ground.
He'll work it out somewhere, you can bet on that.
Each one of them thought the other might be a pushover, but it's not going to turn out that way. I also want to note that the Minstrel is one of the few villains on this show that has costume changes.
They're subtle, though, aren't they?
Yeah, he has at least 2 different costumes that he wears, and I think that's terribly interesting because we have that with the Riddler, of course.
Right.
But pretty much all the other villains have one outfit, and that's their standard outfit. But for some reason, the Minstrel has at least 2 different outfits, and I think that's very interesting. So when they make the action figures, of the Minstrel, they're going to have a variant.
Variants. But they love the variants these days. Oh. So Batman takes that circuit, heads back to the Batcave, and decides, he's going to, track down the Minstrel's hideout by using the signal from the transmitter and such. And how is he going to do this?
Fascinating bird, sir. What is it?
It's a bat drone plane, Alfred.
We can direct it from here by remote control.
Direct it?
Yes, if the Minstrel goes on the air again, and I suspect he will, if only to taunt me, I think this bird should pick up his wavelength.
And locate his broadcasting studio.
There we are. Robin, let's test the drone.
By creating a bat drone.
Yes. Oh, we could have an entire podcast about the bat drone plane. Oh boy, I've got this note written down here with big stars next to it. I have a big theory about the bat drone plane. Do you want to hear this theory?
Did he sell the technology, Bruce Wayne, then to the United States government, and we're using it now?
No, but you know what? This is one of those times when the show was ahead of its time.
Yes.
Looking into the future, predicting the future, just incredible. Even with the wording that it's a bat drone.
Yep.
But then they stick plane on it. It's a bat drone plane.
Yeah.
Number one, I love the bat drone plane. I think it's just really cool.
Yeah.
But I have a theory about it, and I'm sure it's wrong. But boy, oh boy, if it isn't, it's terribly fascinating. So, if you look at it, it's a literal model of a full-size jet plane.
Right.
Is what they're working with. If you really look at that thing, it's fairly detailed. It actually has a little cockpit, window thing. When they do the close-ups of them working on the circuitry, that's behind it. It actually has a cockpit windows. It's literally a model airplane, and the painting on it is meant to be realistic, and it actually does have scalloped bat wings and all of that. My theory is that the show was potentially supposed to have a bat plane. They had a bat copter and bat cycle, Batmobile. I'm thinking that at one point they thought that they were going to have a bat plane, and even went so far as to build a special effects model for it. And then, of course, it just, it didn't happen.
Right.
Maybe they were thinking ahead and just decided that that was just too much for the special effects, or they realized that Batman and Robin almost never leave Gotham City, that they really had no reason, to have a jet, to cross the city. But it seems to me that somebody went to a lot of trouble with that model for how it's used in this episode and detailed. And why is it a miniature of a full-size plane? Unless they literally just did run out and buy, a model airplane and then just put the bat wings on it. To me, it seems funny that they had it that way. I've never ever heard, that there was ever any intention to have a bat jet or a bat plane in the show, and it looks very much like it did in the comics at this time. So that was my, my thought too, that it could be for that. And then unfortunately, it's just not used very much. There's that one shot when it comes back into the Batcave, but you don't get to see it in action.
Right. We get another transmission from the Minstrel.
I've offered the brokers a fair way out, but as yet they haven't accepted that plan. Instead, as they're driven to mistrust and doubt, they've turned for help to Robin and Batman.
The audacity of it!
Getting anything?
The Bat drone's changed course. It's picked up the studio signal, all right.
But I foiled the dauntless duo before, with nothing more startling than a spark and a flash. And though violence is something I strongly abhor, I warn them that next time they'll land with a crash.
That allows, between the transmission and what they got from the transmitter there, they're able to pinpoint, the location, sending out the Bat drone to hover and such. And I know we're coming up to it now. They ask Alfred to retrieve the Bat drone while they go to the hideout. And first off, Alfred is extremely nervous about the idea of retrieving the drone, which is just a matter of flipping some switches. And then when the drone comes back, he's so impressed that he's like overjoyed from the looks. He's like looking at the camera and stuff. And I think he just overplayed that scene way too much.
Yeah, this is the scene that I referred to earlier. I'm glad you agree on that. It's buffoonery is what it is.
Exactly.
And it's really kind of, they build up Alfred's character. They give him a little bit of business earlier about his own personal funds and things like that. And then they have this just silly buffoonery scene that really is, I don't want to go so far as to say it's a travesty, but it really kind of ill serves Alan Napier and the show. Because Alfred's far more intelligent than all of that. But to have this silly little, comedy bit where, like you said, like they say, will you retrieve it? Number one, it's like, Batman, are you lazy or what? You step over to the thing, just like Alfred did, and you flip two switches.
Yes.
But Alfred has to ask how to retrieve it, and Batman has to take the time to explain it. In that same time, he could have done it himself. But for some reason, they decide to give Alfred this weird little scene and this crazy business. Like you said, he looks at us and this, it's almost like a Davy Jones, kind of moment. Like, what was all of that? The Bat drone comes back, and that's the highlight of Alfred's world.
Yeah.
He managed to flip two switches successfully and bring that Bat drone plane back. When he operates the equipment in the Batcave all the time, I mean, Batman trusts him to dust it and to clean it and all of that. So I didn't understand that. It's like, you've already given Alfred something more to do in this episode. It wasn't really necessary, or if it was necessary, it wasn't necessary to make it into this moment where it just made Alfred look like an idiot more than anything, like a simpleton. You flip a switch and done good for the day. I'm surprised they didn't pat him on the head. When they came back. Good Alfred. Good Alfred.
Yeah. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. It's probably the lowest point, or one of the lowest points for Alfred. And there's not a lot because they're usually pretty good about it, but this one just grated.
It's a disservice to both the character and the actor.
Yes. We cut quickly to the chase here. They get to the hideout, and
it is a trap.
And again, this is something that's annoying me because we're like 3 episodes into the second season, and we're not getting bat fight music. We're getting different music. We're getting kind of minstrel-y bat fight music, I guess.
Minstrel bat fight.
Oh, wham! Look at the dynamic duo.
They are efficient, aren't they?
Do you think they'll win, Minstrel?
You know what? At least in this episode, you don't really hear a lot, if any, of the feature film music. Because we get farther into second season, and that's about all you get. Which is not a bad thing, because I happen to really like the music from the feature. But you're getting these cost-cutting measures of just recycling that music. But yeah, there's no music that sticks out at all to me in this episode. Even I always look forward to whatever music that they use for the down the poles into the Batmobile, out the Batcave at the beginning. There's several different themes that they use for that, and this one was just nothing at all.
Right. And now we see that he's got more thugs. There's 4 of them that are helping in the fight. We see the minstrel himself.
What are their names? We have bass and treble. Is Cleft one of the
one of them?
It's like, give us the name of the other one.
And the Minstrel doesn't get involved in the fight.
No. He's not one of those villains.
Yes.
That's right. He's one of the other kind of villain that does not sully his hands with fisticuffs.
Yep. And it's funny too, because, just as the fight's breaking out, we see Bert's stunt double. So this allows for a voiceover by Bert going, "It's a trap."
There's some, during this bat fight, I noticed this for the first time. There's some extreme close-ups of Adam and Bert that they insert in the middle there that seem to be against a wall that's not a wall of the actual set that they were on. It just is funny because it didn't seem like a normal thing that they normally do in bat fights. There is close-up inserts in other fights because they can't just have the stunt doubles doing all the fighting, but these are more extreme close-ups, and they're literally like a second and a half, and it was just a different look for it.
Yeah, the thugs, they all start to run for it, and it leads up to the cliffhanger, but it's such an odd lead up because Batman and Robin go chasing after them. They see this long hallway. Batman places these markers on the floor, which at the time of just watching the episode itself, and we'll get to what those markers really are, but one would assume it's to keep them from losing their way because they're, traveling down this hallway. But it's not that far, so it just seems weird. Then they throw themselves against the closed door, which collapses easily under their weight as they go through. Yep. And all you just see, I forget what Robin actually says, but are they caught in like giant fly paper? Because we don't know.
Holy fly trap.
Holy fly trap.
Holy fly trap. Yeah, and I think this might be one of the only holy exclamations in this episode. Holy fly trap. Right. Boy, is it a cheat.
It is.
Because
it's a huge cheat.
We don't get to see anything. What's funny about that door is that it seems to be hinged. It becomes like a ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a trick door. They hit it, and it revolves on hinges or whatever, and they obviously slide into it. But wait, what?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if that was another cost-cutting measure. I mean, we're so early in the season, wow. I don't know. It's like you couldn't have had them just literally get bonked on the head by the thugs waiting on the other side of the door or something like that. Real quick about those markers, there's a funny little thing is that when Adam is in the long shot is throwing them down, they're just clunking and bouncing on the floor, and the sound is actually in there. You can tell. Then they insert the close-up shot of them with some kind of adhesive or gum on them as someone's throwing them, and they're sticking upright. They look like little darts.
Yeah. We then just cut away to the two of them tied up to the spit, and you got these. I guess they're microwave roasters, turned on, and there's and it's interesting because as the episode is ending,
Batman and Robin rotate and revolve. As the heat grows, your bodies dissolve. When it's still hotter, then you will melt. Nothing left but your utility belt.
Is this it, Batman? Is this the end?
If it is, Robin, let's not lose our dignity.
Can this be true? Is the melodic fiend finally cooking the duo's goose? Check the thermometer on your radar grill. Be here tomorrow. Same hot time, same hot channel.
Minstrel stays. He's sitting and watching, which is a little weird because we've pretty much established he's not comfortable with this, and yet he's doing it, and he's sitting to watch.
Yeah, and he makes Octavia watch too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny because he detests violence. He tells us, and I think it's in the next part of the episode that he tells us that in song that he does not engage in base violence or whatever. But he's actually seems to be that he's going to sit there and watch that. Very funny line, Robin, Batman, is this the end? Is this it? If it is, we must maintain our dignity.
Yes.
Oh, no, Adam and Bert, you've completely lost your dignity at this point. No, yeah, it's a fun bat trap, you know. I will admit, but yeah, those, like you said, are those microwave roasters, or what exactly is that? You know, they couldn't have real fire, of course, so you have to have these heaters of some sort. But what a weird trap or whatever. And as the minstrel explains in song, that while they revolve, your bodies will dissolve.
Oh, yes.
Guess what? It's going to be really gross, is what he is saying.
Yes.
But we're going to sit there and watch it.
And I've made up a ditty about it.
Yeah, right, yeah. You got to wonder, is the minstrel so clever that he makes up these little songs on the spot, or does he plan them in advance? I think that it's supposed to be that he's just such a wonderful musician and such an impromptu musician that he can make this stuff up as he needs it.
Yeah.
And Van Johnson has a nice singing voice, too.
He does.
My wife is a musician, and the moment she hears any actor trying to sing, she'll yell foul. But she has said no. He has a very nice singing voice.
We move into episode 2, and we see now that he isn't staying for the end, and we also see that those markers are not markers, but actually little bombs, which distract the minstrel and his men. It gives Batman a chance to wrench himself from the spit that they're on. They surprise the group.
Our barbecue chef will be right back. Let's surprise him.
Minstrel, they're gone!
Which only has now 2 thugs this time around. 2 of them seem to have run off anyway. Minstrel gets away, but not without leaving a final message for Batman and Robin. The thugs also get away, but not Octavia. And I know this is going to be weird, but I like this scene where Adam West is holding on to her, and he's going to let her go, and he's...
But not all.
Hello. I'm Octavia.
Your purse.
I didn't mean that. I mean, I surrender.
That's hardly necessary. Just from looking at you, I'm sure your presence here is innocent.
Appearances are deceiving, Batman.
Appearances, perhaps. Instinct, seldom.
That's nice. You're nice. I think I might like it better being on your side.
It's always a satisfactory feeling knowing that you're on the side of right, Octavia.
I wasn't talking about right.
I know.
Are you taking me in?
Where? Why?
Thank you, Batman. Perhaps some other time, some other place.
I hope so.
Then goodbye for now.
Just the way he delivered his lines and such, he's damn good here, I think.
To me, it's one of the highlights of the episode. Leslie Perkins is not that charismatic of a Mal. As far as the whole spectrum of Mals, she's not bad. She's fairly pretty, which obviously was important at that time. And she seems fairly intelligent also, but there's just not a whole lot to speak to her other than that she has this interest in Batman.
It's all a sham, because Robin's like, you're letting her go? And he's like going, well, yeah. But I bugged the bag.
Now, what does Robin say? Here's another advancement in the characters. What does Robin say at this point?
Letting her go? Well, I admit she's gorgeous, Batman, but what does she have that all the other gorgeous creatures didn't?
He doesn't say it like a child. I think they're really trying to advance the age of Robin or his maturity, because he says something literally like, she is drop-dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised he didn't go "Row," or something like that, So Robin is starting to get those feelings that Batman kept telling him that he would at some point. But yeah, it's just a funny little thing, like he acknowledges that it's not like this "I don't get it, Batman" kind of a thing. Yeah, she's just a dumb girl, that little kid thing. No. He's not only does he think she's attractive, but she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. Yeah, it's a funny little moment. But again, this nice, I see it an advancement of the character.
Now, let me ask you, the next scene. We've got Gordon and O'Hara, and they haven't heard from Batman in a while, and Gordon is worried.
But the Batman found the heterodyne encounter oscillator that was planted by the Minstrel.
We're not after Bugs. We're after the Minstrel himself. And he walked out of the Stock Exchange building as free as a bird.
What are you trying to say, Chief O'Hara?
That we haven't heard from the Caped Crusaders since last night. And the Minstrel's been on the air with another of his warnings.
He also warned Batman.
Or could it be some kind of a signal?
Have you the temerity to imply that Batman was perhaps working together with the Minstrel?
I don't want to imply it, but Mother McCree, Commissioner, what do we really know about Batman and Robin? Two masked figures, two voices on the telephone. Whence did they come? Whither do they go?
Pistol, whither be dashed, Chief O'Hara. Isn't it enough to know that they're the saviors of Gotham City?
Ah, and helped out from time to time from a department of which I am the chief, may I add?
You may not. As a matter of fact, I have a darn good mind to...
The elephant in the episode.
Oh, and O'Hara starts in, what do we really know about Batman?
My goodness.
What did you think of that?
This could possibly be the greatest scene in this entire episode.
Really?
This is just stay with me on this one.
Okay.
This is an incredible scene. Talk about an advancement of characters. This comes out of nowhere.
Yes.
And I guess, fans could argue that this comes out of nowhere, but to me, this is just a spotlight scene. O'Hara basically accuses Batman of being in cahoots with the Minstrel. He doesn't have a lot to go on, so you have to ask yourself, has this been simmering for a long time with O'Hara?
Right.
He's watched his boss, the commissioner of the entire police force of Gotham City. He's watched his boss over and over and over again basically kiss Batman's butt. Pardon me. Over and over and over. We've said it before, Gordon is the biggest Batman fanboy in the world, but he has had enough. He's not happy with just highlighting that they haven't heard back from them. He's going to open up the mother of all cans of worms.
Right.
What do we really know about them? He's going for the big picture. He's going to try to cut away at the stone edifice that Gordon has erected, to Batman and Robin. Huge scene, and of course, Gordon blows his stack.
Yes.
And it never comes up again. O'Hara, at other times, has disdain for Bruce Wayne. But he's never really had any disdain for Batman and Robin. Now, he doesn't gush like Commissioner Gordon does constantly, about the duo. But this is just an incredible scene. And then, of course, he has to, eat crow once they, hear from them. And that's fun, too. Now, this is funny. I watched the TV Land cut of this episode, and it actually trimmed out the apology.
Yeah, because he does.
So wait. I have a feeling that you don't think much of this scene. Is that right?
I just, to me, well, first off, in the midst of everything, like you said, it comes out at you. Now, O'Hara has hinted in the past that, what's the deal with Batman? He's kind of, in the first season, he has made little hints here and there. Again, and this might be a rewrite situation. Maybe I might have been better with this scene and O'Hara going over the top with the who do we know who this guy is, if maybe he was like pointing out the fact that Batman was pumping them up earlier with just how desperate the situation, and now suddenly the two of them, you can't find. bugged me that it was a powerful scene, don't get me wrong, and Neil Hamilton, just his whole reaction his reaction was perfect. I just felt it was too out of left field for the scene. There's justification. There is justification based on little things O'Hara has said in the past, little lines, little things every once in a while, and Gordon looking at him kind of, are you nuts? But this just he takes it now to the limit and he expresses himself. But to me, it came out of left field. I'm like, based on what? What are you basing this on? Because you haven't heard from him in a while, and it's like, there's been times you haven't heard from him either. In other episodes.
Oh, absolutely. Right. But you do have to ask why this episode, why this moment to have this. Did Stafford Rep ask for a little something more for O'Hara to do? Maybe. Why was it appropriate at this time? Now, I completely get what you're saying, and I think I would even say I sympathize with that. And I think it's the power of the scene, the writing and the acting that gets me over that hump. But I'll go with you on that one. It does come out of left field, but again, I think it's just like the power of it, and I want to see more of this as we go along. I would have loved it if they had that as sort of a running thing where every once in a while, because O'Hara should be the one to get completely and utterly annoyed. Not only that Batman is constantly taking work from him, but that his boss, is literally, on Batman's payroll. You would think that this would come up, some more later on, but maybe, he's so shamed by this that he never brings it up again, but inside he's thinking it.
Oh, it would have been wonderful. Because there are times, even recently, there was the Penguin episode, where 1 minute Batman is complimenting the police department, but the next minute he's pointing out, you could have easily missed this clue. That Batman and Robin would obviously pick. He does like these backhanded compliments.
No, Batman, I should totally believe that Batman has something of disdain for the Gotham City police force. Yeah, he does every once in a while, like, no, you and your men are, doing a fine job kind of a thing. But deep inside, Batman's going, oh, geez, these Keystone cops in this town, man. Yeah, I love in this one, the thing that O'Hara says where he says, aided by a police force of which I happen to be, the head of, I might remind you, kind of a thing. There's some righteous indignation there from O'Hara, and rightfully so. Even though he's often the one to say, I'm sorry, Commissioner Gordon, we can't do anything at all. You need to call back. Right. It's not always Gordon who jumps to that, but O'Hara, does that too, where he looks over at the phone, like, right. You know what I'm thinking, kind of a thing. But so maybe it's his own darn fault.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Maybe that's also part of the reason why he gets that way, as far as the annoyance. After this scene, Minstrel quickly, meets up with the gang and such, and Octavia, and of course he's like, he lets you go, right? And he finds the bug very quickly, and that is the clincher for Octavia. What a rat fink! What a
Yeah. This is what I was saying earlier on, that this is the moment where Batman kind of cuts away at his own image here. It's a pretty underhanded thing that he did. I'll say it again, another sort of advancement of the character, that Batman will go to certain lengths, to accomplish what he needs to. He completely fooled a girl. He built himself up in this girl's eyes to the figure that we all know and love. We expect the way he was acting with this girl, not necessarily letting her go, but just that, sort of warm, fuzzy feeling, or and being kind and everything like that, and it's a complete sham. Yeah. Really funny scene, and you feel complete sympathy for Octavia at that point. And she's the moll of a master villain, and you're feeling sympathy for her because Batman bamboozled her. You don't feel that great about Batman at that moment. You feel for her like, yeah, girl, he just dissed you, man.
And in doing so, he's lost any chance of possibly trying to rehabilitate her himself, which he often does, with so many of the moles.
Yes.
He finds the bug, and so using it, he tells Batman to go to the stock exchange, where he will learn the details of Plan High C, which has the thugs all up in an uproar. Not Plan High C!
Yeah. Are you sure, boss? It could get out of control. I love it.
I do, yeah. So we get to the exchange, and we learn that Plan High C involves using subsonics to shake the building. At first they think it's an earthquake, but they realize it's located just at the building itself. And the minstrel appears on television.
Well, gentlemen, how did you like the sample? And now this message.
He's so suave.
I am the minstrel and a mastermind. I'm a modern genius crook. In electronics, I cannot be surpassed. And that's why your building shook. To my terms, you must agree, or vibration, consternation, desolation throughout the nation. Accept my terms, or there will be irreversible calamity. You have until nightfall to prevent a frightful downfall. Here are the terms. 1. The certified checks made out as you were instructed yesterday will be turned over to Commissioner Gordon. 2. Commissioner Gordon will deliver them to my men when I so request. 3. Announcement of your agreement to this will be made on this channel at 6 o'clock sharp, or the stock exchange becomes a pile of rubble, and there is nothing Batman can do to stop it. Remember, 6 o'clock sharp.
Batman tells the board that the minstrel will need power to carry out his threat, and Batman's going to make sure that the power is cut off. Again, now we're seeing the battle of wits again, back and forth between them. He's like, I'll take care of that, don't worry.
Let me ask this. Why does the minstrel think that he can still get what he wants at this point? You know what I mean? It's like, does he think that Batman's just going to kind of go away and he's just going to blackmail these guys over a period? You know what I mean? It's like, go for the big cash grab all at once and get out of town at this point. But no, he's going to stick with that. You're going to pay me every week. That sounds like something that you do more in secret than anything than broadcasting that one.
Well, that could just be the ego again.
I guess so. I guess that's exactly what it is.
That evening, the board waits. 6 o'clock shows up. Gordon and O'Hara arrive, as does the minstrel. He's in disguise as one of the board members among them all. The disguise being that he's wearing a suit. And he's got glasses. I forgot about the glasses.
He's got Clark Kent's glasses on.
Exactly, as we've learned from Superman, a pair of glasses just does the job. But I love, God love him, but I love Burt Ward as he and Batman come into the room, and that stride he's got as he's walking behind Batman.
Yes. What is that? Yeah, what is that? It's like, you got to wonder. I'm thinking that that's Burt's trying to upstage Adam.
Maybe.
With that over-exaggerated stride, because this is probably at the point where we've heard that the two of them are starting to butt heads behind the scenes.
Right.
And doing things to try to upstage each other, because I can't imagine what else that was all about.
It's just so funny though, and I'm like thinking, it's like, how do you consciously think I'm going to walk that way? I mean, I know you're in the outfit and all, but it just, oh God. Yeah. Well, once everybody is all gathered, the power is cut, but it quickly comes back on, and another message from the minstrel plays.
Here he is!
Do I have your attention? Batman, your world will tumble down. Just wait and see. Your city will disintegrate. It matters not to me. Batman's and Robin's strength will not avail. No matter what they do, they're bound to fail. They can't evade my sonic beam, and they'll become a vapor trail, which should be evident to the most obtuse by now, I think. However, there's still time to change your minds, gentlemen, though not much. If you wish my protection, simply say so. I'll get the word. But I'm warning you, do not delay.
So, of course, the board members all start chanting out, yeah, we'll do it and such, and the building shakes. But Batman, isn't fooled by the glasses. I guess because he's known Clark Kent and Superman. He goes right up to Minstrel.
Well, at least we're still alive, in spite of that devious devil.
But for what? To knuckle under to the scoundrel all our lives?
Fortunately, that won't be necessary.
What?
That is correct. For, as it happens, gentlemen, we have located Minstrel.
Just a minute. That's the Minstrel?
That nice-looking young man.
But how can he be here in this room and on TV at the same time?
It was a pre-recording.
This is ridiculous.
We knew he'd be here.
To signal cutoff. Why would he destroy a $10 million building belonging to people he wanted to extort money from?
We went through with everything so he wouldn't suspect.
But I'm not the Minstrel. All right, Batman, you asked for it. Bass, treble, all the rest of you.
Here we go back to O'Hara again. How can he be there when he's up there on the TV? Like, duh, I think that they had a way of taping things in those days, Chief. Like, what? I mean, Batman should have given him the best of, like, you stupid idiot look. Like, what? Like, you cannot be that stupid. Like, how can he be right there? He's up on the TV. Oh, my goodness. But wait, the Minstrel denies it.
Yes.
I'm not the Minstrel. Like, and then one of the businessmen goes, like, that young man, that nice young man is the Minstrel. And you have to laugh. Now, Van, maybe he doesn't look 50, but he's obviously not a young man at this point. But I think that's just one of those campy things, that they love to write into the script. That young man, he's the Minstrel. So that must mean that the Minstrel does not look like a young man.
It won't work, Minstrel.
We're wearing our particle bat accelerator units.
To create an anti-charge and deflect your static bolts.
So there's no way out, Minstrel.
All right, Chief O'Hara, you can take him away.
And this time, Minstrel, no song, please.
I don't think he'll be doing any singing in public for a long, long time. Come along, you.
And we get a huge, because he's calling out, bass and treble and all the rest of you, and it's like the waiters jump in. I mean, we get a huge bat fight.
Again, he will not participate in it.
No, he backs off, and O'Hara gets clocked.
Yeah, right off the bat. Well, I don't know. I think after all this stuff in this episode, I think the Chief actually deserved that punch to the jaw. What a wonderful combination of choices in this episode. Over and over and over again, it's a combination of the writers and the directors and the actors and the choices that they made for this. Again, you'd love to sit them all down and say, like, how did that happen? Like, what made you go to that instead of going over here and doing that? I guess it's because the chief of police is present that you have to, punch him to get him out of the way, but I don't think those crooks really knew Chief O'Hara, because Chief O'Hara is not that competent, to have gotten in their way.
And Minstrel tries to escape. He uses that, and now we get the name of it. It's a static bolt device, is what they call it. But Batman and Robin, have taken precautions this time so that they're not affected by the glare. I don't remember, though, as he's doing it, does anybody else in the room sort of flinch at it, or are they all just sort of standing there?
That's a good point, because no, I don't think that they do. So maybe these particle bat acceleration units that they're using are not just limited to Batman and Robin, but the effect sort of like spreads out into the room. Yeah, this is one of those times where the name of the thing that Batman and Robin is using just seems to make no sense at all.
Right.
It's like, particle bat acceleration units. Particle acceleration, isn't that something like in nuclear physics or something like that? Like, it sounds more dangerous than anything.
Yeah. Now, I've got two questions for you, because we get to the end of this now. First of all, what happened to Octavia? Because she wasn't anywhere in the scene.
Yeah, they'll give you those shots where the mall is hiding, or something like that, or tries to get away, or one thing or another. But yeah, she's kind of forgotten at that point. You know, and a nice little build up with her character, and then doesn't really go anywhere at the end.
Right. And the other thing, the epilogue, we get a scene. Okay, fine. You gave the minstrel an exclusive interview, but you took him to the TV station to do it? You know, they could do remotes from the jail.
And why is that guy so shagged out? Like, I guess it's because the minstrel sings a song about killing Batman.
Yes.
But that guy is just like, you know, like that, you know, hanging his head down after, you know, goes back to his desk and is like, get this guy out of here. And then he like hangs his head in shame or something. I guess it's because he got a little bit more than he bargained for. But it's a kind of a overreaction, you know, out of these guys. But I love the minstrel's jailbreak song.
Yes.
You know, wait till the jailbreak Batman, and you'll be dead. I just love it. But a promise unfulfilled.
A promise unfulfilled. I mean, and that brings us to, I mean, I want to touch on this again. I really liked the minstrel. I know he's listed there when they talk about Archer and this one and that, you know, as a weaker... Yep. I don't think so. I just think what he got saddled with was a story that had a lot of potential, but that it missed so many marks that it didn't really give him a chance to shine. But if you really watch it and watch Van Johnson's performance, that really they had something going there that could have been an ongoing thing of a battle of wits. Like when you know the minstrel's in town, you know this isn't just Batman dealing with someone crazy or someone who just likes to steal. You've got someone who is on his intellectual level, and that will always add another challenge, not only just to Batman, but to the writers as far as coming up with a story that befits such a character. Maybe that was part of the problem too. I don't know.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You know, he's a genius. You know, he's got a really great theme thing going there, and the different devices. And it really kind of amps up when he starts at the end when, you know, he can make this building shake. He could have actually brought entire buildings down in Gotham City. You know, it almost makes you wonder why his plot was so sort of tepid in the beginning. You know, this sort of blackmail scheme and $250,000, you know, whoopee. Like when he really could have threatened just literally, okay, Gotham City, I'm going to completely raise a quarter of the city unless you give me $10 million. You know,
right.
But no, he's not aiming high enough, and you know, you sort of wonder why. But yeah, he's not given, you know, the greatest plot in the world, but he has so much going for him, and especially at that end, doesn't kind of get that like, oh, you got me kind of a thing. You know, he gives this really great, in your face, just wait, Batman, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break out of jail, and I'm coming for you. I'm gunning for you. I'm not just gonna, you know, make you look stupid. You're going to be dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a, you know, really wonderful thing. But oh, Aunt Harriet, bless her heart, to the very end, she's, you know, in the minstrel's camp. You know, what a handsome guy. And then she's just so optimistic, which is of course the beauty, you know, of her character. And that thoughtful look that she has at the very end, where she's thinking about reforming him.
Right.
And she gives Bruce that idea or whatever. But there's just this beautiful little shot of Madge right at the very end that I just love, where she's kind of just looking off into space and thinking about what she could do, what Bruce could do, and I just love it.
Yeah.
This, to me, speaks to her interest in Chandel.
Yes.
Later, that she's drawn to these type of figures, these musical, charismatic musical figures. You know, this is Aunt Harriet's weakness, I guess. You know, that she likes these kind of guys, you know. But I think she's speaking for many, you know, ladies at the time, you know, all the superstar musical acts, you know, that ladies just went crazy for, like Liberace.
Right.
At that time. But again, you know, okay, you know, another nice little thing. So everybody kind of got something, you know, nice to do in this episode. What a shame. It makes you wonder if they had considered bringing Minstrel back, or maybe those episodes just didn't get the ratings that they had hoped for, or Van Johnson, you know, maybe just wasn't available to come back. Maybe he didn't have a good time, you know, on the show. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. We mentioned earlier the writers, Francis and Marion Cockrell. I actually forgot they did an earlier Batman episode.
Okay, did they? All right.
Yeah, they did a first season Joker episode. Joker trumps an ace. Batman sets the pace.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And that one also has some elements of dealing with financials, as Batman is endorsing a check over to the Maharaja. It also has the Joker in disguise as the Maharaja, as Minstrel is in disguise here in the stock market. I mean, there's some similar elements. There was some problems with the Joker episode too, that it seemed to have a lot of great ideas. It was not the stronger of the Joker episodes from the first season. It too had things that you wonder if it was written one way or maybe rewritten or what have you. I mean, still, it was a good episode, but it wasn't one of the better ones from that first season. Yeah. Let me ask you something. The Bat Gadget. I think we both can agree on what our favorite Bat Gadget was this episode.
I think so.
Yeah.
And it's not the adhesive bat bombs.
No, it's not the adhesive bat bombs.
Now, how did he know to do that? You know, we kind of glossed over that, but how?
You're right.
Why did he choose this episode, this adventure, this mission? Why did he choose this one to plant those? Did he know that they were going to get captured? Robin, this is about the point in our adventures where we get captured. So I want to, think ahead this time.
And they never do it again.
No, it's like, Batman, it worked really well. Why don't you do that all the time? And what's funny is because they escape from the death trap because of his cleverness and his thinking ahead, of course, but the actual way that they get out of being cooked is not that spectacular. All they do is just rock that thing a little bit so it comes off of, the spit comes off of the thing that it sits in,
right.
And that's it. Yeah, there's no, he didn't use the bat laser or anything like that at all, to burn through it or to short out the heaters or anything like that. No, they just, rock that so the spit comes off of the holder.
Yeah, well, we're still not at that point yet where Bat Gadgets, I mean, well, I guess technically you could say Bat Gadgets saved the day because of the adhesive bombs going off, but
yeah, right. Right.
But it's still just a little bit of, just body mechanics or whatever that gets them out of it. I don't know. I was fine with it. I just, like you said, it's like, okay, that worked. From now on, we're going to have a diversion set up just before we go into anything, just in case,
Yeah, because it works so well, and you would think that he would keep doing that.
I'm sure you know the answer to this one because you have the book too, but here's the trivia question. What mythological creature does the minstrel wear on his tunic? And I changed the wording around because I was like, it's a tunic, really. It's not a shirt so much.
A jerkin, maybe? A tunic, jerkin, something like that.
I like that even
better. It's a griffin, isn't
right.
it?
Yeah, it's a griffin.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good, all right, yeah. I would buy an action figure of the minstrel if they made one.
I would too.
Yeah.
And I always remember even as a kid, because, when we get into the later second and third season, and it's like, oh, you mean it's not a Joker episode, or, oh, it's not a Riddler episode, but it never bothered me when the Minstrel came on. I liked it, even as a kid. And now, as an adult, I know why I liked it so much, because I would rank him up there. I know it sounds weird. It's like his name, the Minstrel, and he's got, he's wearing that outfit. But there's just, I guess I bought into the charisma of him. I liked him. If you were Robin, how would you then, holy superlative, what would you exclaim at the end of watching this?
Holy high C.
There you go.
You were right when you said that he gets lumped in with the Archer. People think of, second season begins, we've got the Archer, who, clearly that was just a way to get Art Carney, on the show. And I think it's probably because the Minstrel has that Renaissance fair type of feeling going on, that of course he gets attached, to the Archer. It's not a bad idea that in the Batman 66 comic book that they're doing now, maybe they should really have the Archer and the Minstrel team up, because they both have that sort of medieval thing going on there.
Right.
But, it's in too close a proximity to the Archer episode two. There's just one cat. There's a Catwoman episode between the two that he gets lumped in there, and I think it's probably because, quite sadly, Van Johnson is sort of forgotten these days.
Yeah.
You know, he's not one of the flashier, actors that they had on the show. He's not from the comic books. So I said it before, he gets short shrift. The episode gets it, and he himself gets it. And I would urge everybody to watch this episode again and look for all the really great, character bits that are in here, and really watch what Van Johnson does here. And I think they're going to be surprised. And hopefully they'll, ratchet this one up a few levels. I know that I have. It's a quiet, admit it, it's a quiet episode, but I think it's really rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we come to the end of this episode of the Batcave podcast, Jim, how do people, get a hold of you there, get in touch with you in terms of Facebook, Twitter, and such? How do they get information? Again, I know we've talked about it before, but for those new listeners, how do they get information on ordering Gotham City 14 Miles?
Well, it's easy enough. Go to Amazon.com and put in Gotham City 14 Miles, or they can take a look at my Amazon author page, and you'll see not only Gotham City 14 Miles, but all of my fiction works, and I hope that they will check those out. Gotham City 14 Miles also has its very own Facebook page, and it's been going since the book came out, and going strong. We've got a huge amount of people there, and I post all the time about all the different goings-on. It's not just about the book, but about Batman 66 in general. And then I also have a so-called fan page on Facebook, which is called The Beard, the Jim Beard fan page, and they can go on there and like it and send me all those fan letters that they're now writing in their heads.
And I'll put up links for all those as well in the show notes for this episode when it's released. Jim, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate this. Was fun.
Thank you so much. This is, John, I got to tell you, this is my favorite podcast.
Well,
this is the one that I love doing, and hope you have me back on again, because I just really, really enjoy this. You know I could talk about Batman 66 forever.
Oh, yeah. No.
Remember, when you want to have that episode just about the Bat drone, I'm your man.
Okay, that's it. Well, next time, actually, Jim, we're going to have one of your favorite villains returning for the next episode.
Next week, another battle royal with King Tut.
Good. I hope you have someone who's into it. Who's into. I mean, that's pretty much everybody but me, so it's pretty easy. You can walk out on the street and ask, people, do you like King Tut? And you're going to get, 9.5 times out of 10, you're going to get a big resounding yes. Oh my gosh, I love King Tut.
Well, I honestly don't know how he feels about it, but we'll see. Joining me to discuss the latest caper from the King of Conundrums is author Julio Angel Ortiz. That'll be on the next episode. Thanks for listening, chums. I don't have a bat phone, but you can contact the Batcave podcast through its Facebook page, Twitter, email at thebatcavepodcast@gmail.com, or by phone at 888-866-9010. Subscribe to the podcast via Libsyn.com. That's LIBSYN.com, or through iTunes. The Batcave podcast is part of a series of pop culture podcasts from the Chronic Rift Network. Find them at chronicrift.com. So until next time, citizens, same bat time, same Batcave podcast. Welcome back, citizens, to an all-new episode of the Batcave Oh, let me do that one again. I was about to say the bodcast. What the heck is a bodcast? That's another show.
Well, I think that's the porn version of it, possibly.
Or the obsession with the nipples on the costume. I don't know.
Yeah, that's later. That's the movie.
That's the movies. All right, let me do this again.
Wait till the jailbreak, Batman. You've not seen the last of me. I'll clobber you and Robin. Wait and see. You'll vibrate both to I'll shake off your heads. Oh, just you wait till the jailbreak Batman, you'll be dead.
Surely a man with such a voice can't be all bad. Perhaps he could learn to make an honest living when he comes out of prison. If only someone would help. Commissioner Gordon is a friend of yours, isn't he?
Why, yes, he is, Aunt Harriet, in a way, and even though Minstrel might sneer at such a suggestion, I will bring it to the Commissioner's attention. Who knows, it just might work.